Yes, just a minute, please. Okay. So, um, okay. Uh, pardon, pardon. Yes. So, we are live on YouTube, and let's get started. Um, let me. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Please share it now. Please share it now.
Sorry. Okay, just a minute. It's yes. Okay. Now, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Um, just a minute. Okay. Oh yes, I admit. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our second meetup. My name is Ilgar. I am organizer of Paco Power BI and Modern Excel User Meetup Group. Um, uh, at each time, I'm just beginning with the beautiful scenes of our lovely city, Baku, which city of winds. This is Maiden Tower, which has been built on 12th century and which is included by UNESCO's heritage list. Okay. Um, in today's session, Mr. Sohail Merchant, who is our speaker, he will be talking about Excel-based accounting system. Of course, he will be give the necessary information about himself. But what I can tell you about this speaker, I personally attended Mr. Sohail Merchant's roughly 5 sessions in last year, including Power BI and business intelligence tool sessions. After that, I took some exams, including 778, 779, and DA 100. I successfully passed this exam, and I strongly believe that if some of you attend his sessions, it will be very useful on behalf of that person. So I strongly offer you to attend his session. And in our next session, we'll have speaker from Pakistan. His name is Rahim Zulfikar Ali. He will be talking about data cleansing and transformation with the function in Excel. And after Zulfikar Rahim Ali, we'll have Leila Etaiti from New Zealand, who will be talking about artificial intelligence in Power BI desktop. So I believe that this session will be very useful on behalf of each attendees. So enjoy the session. Thank you for attendance, and see you on April 16th. So now, Mr. Sohail, it's your turn.
Thank you, Ilgar. Thank you so much. And guys, welcome on the boat. My name is Sohail Merchant. I am Microsoft certified trainer, Microsoft Office specialist. Done multiple certifications internationally, including Harvard, CFI, and so on and so forth, and the list goes on. I am running my own organization named Tectar Solutions. We provide training, analytics support, and consultancy. Now, in this session, we are going to talk about one of our on the shelf product by the name eBase, Excel based accounting system. So, this software or this system is a comprehensive system based on macros, logics, formulas, pivot table, graph, and so on and so forth. Now, we have limited time of 1.5 hour, right? 1.5, right? And we have to cover a basic framework, how I have developed that Excel based accounting system. And we are going to cover that framework with the help of pivot table, index and match function, and conditional formatting. So I will be just giving you an overview about how you can develop your own Excel based accounting system, and after that you can implement your own knowledge, your own skills to design your own Excel based accounting system or any software related to it. Now, as I already mentioned, that today we are going to talk about the framework. So generally speaking, an accounting framework comprises of 8 steps in which we have to identify and record the transactions. Generally, these are done in journal. This is a terminology of accounting. Then we have to classify this information into journal ledger. Then we have to summarize this information in the trial balance, and from there we have to generate financial reports. Now, between these steps, we have to also cover the invoice part. We have also covered to generate invoice, automatic reports, and so on and so forth. In this session, we are going to limit ourselves. We are going to understand how we can generate a journal for the recording purpose, how we can generate a journal ledger for the classifying purpose, how we can generate income statement and financial statement, that is balance sheet, for the financial analysis purpose. So these are the three main areas that I am going to cover in this session, and these three areas are going to cover with the help of pivot table, condition formatting, index and match functions. So as I've already said that this is an on-shelf product of Tectar Solutions. So this is a basic layout of how this is look like. So you can take the idea and you can generate your own. This is known as system page, where you are going to connect this your software with a system. Like, this is a company name. If a person buy my product, update this organization name, all the upcoming reports, all the upcoming sheets, all the upcoming, you may say, PDF files will have this organization name in it by default. So save this information once and it will automatically update in all the sheets. Similarly, since I have sold this software globally, therefore I have marked multiple currency in it. So one can select the respective currency of their country and the symbol will update accordingly. And this symbol will automatically update in the rest of the workflow and the framework. The third portion that I have made in this setting sheet is the accounting period. For example, in Pakistan, generally the accounting period start in the month of July and end on June. In America, it start in the month of January and end on December, right? So different countries, different accounting period, different company, different accounting period. So a user can set up the accounting period and accordingly these quarters are updated. So quarter one, quarter two, quarter three. And for the sake of better understanding, when you update this information, you can also get a snippet of what from where your quarter will start and from where your quarter will end. So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So this is a general snippet of accounting period. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. These 4 information are set up by the user when they purchase the software. And after that, all of this area are interlinked with each other. Now, when we are developing a software or any system, we need to identify certain repetition. Why? Because there are chances that user may make a typo error. This typo error will become part of your report and can generate a ambiguity in your report. For that, what I suggest and what is the best practice in the accounting terminology, the first thing that a user need to create is the chart of account. So here we can find that today we are going to cover two reports, that is balance sheet and the income statement. And from this report, we are going to generate the financial report for the organization. And the organization name is Tectar Solutions. Why Tectar Solutions? Because in the content, the organization name is written as Tectar Solutions. Now, for example, if I change this Tectar Solution, let's suppose Pakistan. So all the reports are updated accordingly, right? So this setting allow the user a user-friendly environment, do your job one time and it will auto-populate in all your working scheme. Now let's talk about the chart of account. So basically chart of account is a list of accounts that a company or any business has. For example, generally speaking, a company or any business have cash account, have their debtors, that is account receivable, has their bank account, has their supplier account, have their inventory account. So whatever the number of accounts they are maintaining in their accounting system, they write a code with that and a description with that. For example, if I want to call cash account into my accounting system, I will write 1000 because 1000 is representing cash. If I want to call prepaid rent, I will write 1110 for the prepaid rent. So this code scheme will connect all of the reports interlink, right? And this LO, L1, L2, L3 are the level of information. So for example, if I want to see balance sheet item, I have to just mark LO in the accounting system. If I want to further drill down the information from current asset, current liability, expenses, revenue, I have to jump myself from LO to LO1. If I want to further classify the information, then L2 and L3. Now, depending on the situation. So these four are the level of information in the system. And this account number and account description is the user interface where user will enter the code and the information will populate. Now let's talk about the journal, the area actually where user records its entry. So for the sake of this webinar, I have created a dummy data, right? This is totally a dummy data. And here you can find on 7 January 2015, a user hit 7070 account and make a credit entry of 92899. Now, what this 77 account represent? It's a pension contribution account. The level of information that this account is representing is income statement. It is parked under the overhead expenses, and this is charged to the employee contribution, right? Employee cost. Now, for instance, if I want to change this 77 to 1000, right? As soon as I click enter, this information is auto-populated. So now 77 is replaced by the cash. I have to update the information and rest of the information LO, L1, L2, L3 are interlinked with each other. So this is a basic framework how you need to interlink your data sheet, your charts of accounts, your journal, right? Now, from this point of time and for the next of the couple of hours, we are going to lively create the journal ledger, income statement, balance sheet. So I hope that up till now you are very much clear that for an accounting system you have to generate two sort of reporting standard. One is chart of account that will contain all the unique information of your account. With that, it will also contain the level of description in your Excel. The second thing you have to establish or create is the journal. The journal is a book which has all the entries. So user have to provide information in these 4 columns, and rest of the information are auto-populated with the help of index and match function. You can see index and match function are available inside this cell, which is taking this 7070 account number as a lookup value, going into cost of charts of account sheet, taking information from the charts of accounts and populating in the journal for the rest of the columns. So for the user, these 4 columns are open for the input, and rest of the information are auto populated with the help of index and match function. Now let's start our work and gets our hand dirty with the journal. So for instance, one day a user of this software is this eBase ask you that Mr. A, I want to see a list of all the transactions that we have made in cash account, all the transaction, right? So he want to just get a snippet of cash transaction and want to see all the debits and credit in it. Now this job is performed in journal ledger. Journal ledger means that we are going to classify this widely spread information into a summarized form. And for the report creation, we are going to use pivot table. So this journal ledger is already marked a table. We can summarize it with pivot table. Click on it and existing worksheet. And this is my journal ledger sheet. Here I want to create a journal ledger with the help of pivot table. So now we are not using any sort of formula. We are just going to drag and drop the information to get a journal ledger created. So we have this pivot table, and inside this pivot table, we need information that includes date. So we need date, right click and ungroup. So we have all the dates in front of us. We need account number because this account number is a unique value through which we can identify all the transactions. We need again account description. We need debit and credit, right? Lastly, many of the time what we use amount or any numerical value inside the value quadrant, value area. But for the ledger, we need to use this amount again in the row. So this is sort of a journal ledger that we have created, right? Now we have to modify this journal ledger and make it available on a user interface. To modify any sort of layout of pivot table, we need to use this design tab. Design tab. And in this design tab, we have report layout option. And this report layout, we have this tabular form, right? Now, when we clicked on this tabular form, here you can see that all the information are marked in one column, in column A. All the description are available in column A, right? Now, when we change the layout of this report from compact, that is this format, to the tabular format, what it will do, it will separate information on each of the separate column. Like I have date on my one column, I have account number on my second column, I have my account description on the third column, debit and credit status and the amount. So this is a better view a user can understand. Now let's modify this view again. Again, we are going to design tab, same report layout. When we choose show in tabular form, then we have access of these two important options. Repeat all items labels and do not repeat, right? Since we want to get all the information row wise. That means I want to repeat this date on each of the row. I want to repeat this account number on each of the row. What I need to do, go to report layout and report all item labels. And finally, since this is a journal ledger, we don't need any sort of total, either subtotal or either grand total. We don't need any sort of total, right? What we need to do, grand total off, subtotal off. And from the analyze tab, we can close this plus minus button, and design tab, we can uncheck this row header to make this ledger more readable, more user friendly. So now a person can know that, okay, on 7th Jan 2015, I had a pension contribution match of a credit of rupees 92,899. So this is the summarized form of this journal ledger that we have created with the help of pivot table. Now we have done half part of journal ledger. Now the half part of journal ledger is how a user is going to filter out this information. For example, Mr. A want to check out, okay, this I want to check out my balance sheet account cash, and I want to see only cash transaction. The only transaction that should appear on my screen is cash transaction. Now to make those information, filter out the information, we will be using a important option, that is slicer. Pivot table, analyze, and here on the filter group we have insert slicer. Click on this, and from here we will select LO, L1, L2, L3. Why? Because these are the descriptive values, descriptive information of all of these records. Press OK, and we have this slicer on our screen. Very quickly I will resize it. So I think 0.98 will be fine for it. Yes. 2.77. Yes. Slicer and 2 columns. Right. Very quickly I will just make the arrangement of the slicers. Slicer, align top, align, distribute horizontally, right? So we have slicers on our screen. Now, for example, one day the user want to see, okay, in my balance sheet, I have my current assets, and in the current asset, I want to see my cash equivalents, this transaction, only cash transaction. So what user need to do? Click on the balance sheet, current asset, and click on the cash and cash equivalent, and all the transaction related to cash and cash equivalent is available on its screen. Similarly, if a user want to see inventory transaction, click on it, and all the inventory transaction is available on the screen. So this is the summarized form of all the transactions that we have put in the journal. So this was a comprehensive view of the journal, and this is a user-friendly environment where user need to click on just few buttons to get the desired information on the screen. For example, a user want to see, okay, in my income statement, I want to see a list of overheads. Click on it, and the list of overheads are on this screen. For example, in employee contribution or employee cost. So these are the amount that has been spent on employee cost from 15 January to 15 December 2020. So these are different amount. And further, if a user want to classify this account as a bonus, he or she can do employee bonus, he or she can do salaries, he or she can do, and get information on a screen just by the click of the buttons. So this is the power of pivot table and the use of slicers. Now we have done with the journal, we have done with the journal ledger. That means we have recorded the transaction, we have classified the transaction. Now we need to move on the third part, where user will like to have income statement and balance sheet on his screen. So income statement and balance sheet. Now let's recall what is income statement. Our income statement is a piece of paper that show total revenue generated, total expenses paid out to get the net profit. Now this revenue can be classified into multiple levels. This cost or expense can be classified on multiple levels. For example, we can classify a cost on the base of cost of goods sold. So when we subtract sales minus cost of goods sold, we get gross profit. From gross profit, when we subtract or deduct other expenses, we get net profit. Or we can also perform similar calculation for other income, gains, and so on and so forth. So now the question is, how a user is going to get a piece of information or a piece of paper having all the costs and all the revenues, known as known as income statement, right? So income statement, for the income statement, again, we are going to use pivot table. Just like in the journal ledger, we have used pivot table. In the income statement, we are again going to use pivot table. And we are going to generate an income statement based on 5 years. So we want to analyze different level of information distributed on 5 years. So let's create a pivot table first. For that, go to general. This is my general. This is my table design tab, summarize with pivot table, and I want to create a pivot table on income statement sheet. Click on it and OK. So here we have a pivot table that we'll be using to generate our income statement, right? Now, before generating an income statement, let's revisit our charts of account. So,
Excuse me, Sohail sir.
yeah,
Can you allow me for the recording?
the host can allow you.
I request to the host as well. So host is requested to allow me to record this lecture.
Just a minute.
Uh,
Actually, it's being recorded and will be sent you. But if you want, no problem. Okay, what's your name?
Actually, I want my name is Shahid.
Shahid. Okay, and now just wait for a minute. Okay, go on, Sohail.
Actually, I send a request as well.
Shahid, you can
Okay.
coordinate with the host in the chat.
Okay. Okay,
Right?
got it. Thank you, host.
Okay, so now let's revisit the charts of account again. In the LO, that is level of information 0, we have two information, that is balance sheet and income statement, right? And right now we are interested to create our income statement. So think for a second, which LO is going to help us? It's LO, right? So in the LO, we have a balance sheet and income statement. Go to income statement sheet. We have already created a pivot table, right? So now, dragging this LO in the filter. Why? Because I want to show only income statement item in my pivot table. So make this LO part of your filter. And from the filter, select income statement only. Okay. Now, we want further drill down the information. We need to drill down the information on further level. For that, we need L1. So we have sales, we have cost of goods sold, we have overheads, we have income and expenses, and we have taxes. So further drill down information. Now we also want to drill down information and we want to see, okay, from which product we have sold and earned this amount of money. For that information, we have L2. So from the sales of equipment and services, we have made some amount of money. From the equipment and cost of service, we have deducted some amount of the earned money. And from the overheads, we have also spent some amount of money. Now the question is how we can distribute the total amount that is available inside this amount field. We have total amount here and we want to distribute this amount over a period of time, right? How we can do it? We can see a column here known as year column. We will just drag this year column on the column area and we distributed this amount over the number of years. So for the sale in 2015, we earned $78,080 or rupees. In 2016, we have earned this amount of money and so on and so forth. So now we have sales, we have cost of goods sold, we have overheads, and now the time we have done the half part. The half part is to make adjustment in the layout of this report. And how we can adjust the layout of this report, again, we have to go to Design tab, Report Layout, Tabular Form, and yes, we got it. So in the sales, we have two sales item, that is equipment and the service. And here we have the amount of 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and so on and so forth. Right? Now I want to make or adjust this number format. How I can do it? What is number format? I want to insert a 1000 separator. How I can do it? Go to Analyze tab. From the action, select entire pivot table. Now select values. From the home tab, go to numbers, currency, no decimal place, and OK. Right? So I have modified this pivot table. I have generated my income statement in a very short period of time, just dragging and dropping the information. Right? And finally, in the design tab, we can insert a blank row to segregate each of the details, like sales. After sales, there will be a blank row to interconnect this cost of goods sold. So blank row, insert blank row, right? And here we have generated our income statement. Now it's time to generate balance sheet. For the balance sheet, we are going to copy this income statement. So from the pivot table analyze tab, action, select entire pivot table, copy. From the balance sheet, click on any cell and paste. Right, guys? Now think for a second. In LO, we have two options, income statement and balance sheet. In the LO, we have two options, income statement and balance sheet. If I change this income statement to balance sheet, let's see what happened. So income statement, now it's balance sheet, press OK, and this pivot table is auto generated, capturing all the information from the balance sheet item. So we have current asset, we have long-term assets, we have current liability, we have long-term liabilities. So all of these items are pertaining to balance sheet. So if a user want to display or get information of balance sheet or income statement on one particular sheet, what he or she need to do? Just filter the icons. Just filter the icons and the information is going to populate on their screen. So we have done with the second part. The first part was journal ledger. The second part is to create a financial statement that comprises of balance sheet and comprises of income statement. Now we are moving forward to the third part. In the third part, we are going to generate and create a report, a financial report. This report will summarize all the key metrics information like total sales, total current asset, long-term assets, all the information in totality, not in the description, in the totality. So for that, we need to perform certain calculation, right? And to perform certain calculation, what I have done, I have created a new sheet known as database. So in this database, I am going to perform calculation. And here you can find a list of currencies that we have already seen in this area. So when I select any of the country, the symbol that is populating in this box or this cell is linked with this database. And how I have linked this? With the help of VLOOKUP function. So here is the VLOOKUP function, VLOOKUP B7. B7 means the country I am choosing. The database is the sheet name, A2, B264 is the table name where my country and the respective currencies are present. 0 is my exact match, and if there is some sort of errors in the formula. So this is a formula with the help of the selection of country, I can auto update this symbol. Right, guys? Now it's time to do certain calculations. So up till now, with the help of pivot table, we have generated a very quick, fast, reliable reports, one-pager reports from a wider descriptive journal. We have also created a summarized form of the transactions. We have also created a financial reports, and now it's time to create a financial analysis dashboard. For that, we need to perform some sort of calculation. And those of you who use pivot table frequently must be aware about the pivot table function, and the function name is get pivot data. This is a function that is available and linked with the pivot table data. To enable this function, what you need to do, click on the pivot table, go to Analyze tab. In the pivot table, you have this option icon. Click on it and make sure that this check marks is available on the left side of Generate Get Pivot Data. Right? So if this check mark will make sure that your function of pivot table is available. Now let's learn the function. Now we have already enabled the function. Now let's use it inside our database calculation sheet. So very easy to use it. Just type equals to, go to your income statement and click on any of the cell you would like to connect. So this time I want to connect my sales total of 2015. Click on it and enter. 780.80 is my amount. 780.80 is my amount. Perfectly connected, right? Now what I need to do, I need to make this function dynamic. I need to make this function dynamic. How I can do it? Let's analyze the syntax of this function, get pivot data function. The first thing is the data field. The second thing is pivot table, right? So the pivot table name. The important area that start is this item. So we have the field item L1, and this is the item, right? What we need to do, we need to remove this icon and make it dynamic. To make it dynamic, what I have done, I have already copied all the total values. So here you can see 05 sales. Here you can see 06 direct cost of sales. What I've done, I have just copied all the L1 values inside my datasheet calculation tab. So I have 05 sales, I have 06 direct cost of sales, I have gross profit, I have 07 overheads. So all the information are connected. Now what I need to do, just update the formula. So right now I am removing 05 sales and I'm asking Microsoft Excel to connect this cell with my formula, and I'm making a mix referencing to it. Similarly, I don't want Microsoft Excel to fix 2015 as the year, since I am going to drag down this function over the number of cells. So what I'm doing, I am asking Microsoft Excel to make 2015 cell reference in the function. Make it freeze. Right? Now, when I drag this function over the number of cells, we can get the information directly from the pivot table. Let's check it out. So in the income statement, we have $780.80.44.222. 780.80.44.222. Perfectly fine up till now. Then we have minus 125.620. Minus 125.620. Then we have minus 162,999,123,166 and 0 value. Perfectly fine. All the cells are connected to my pivot table, right? Now let's drag it down. Right now, I want to adjust this gross profit because this gross profit is not part of my pivot table. What I need to do, I just need to apply mathematical function equals to sales minus cost I can use apps function here, right? So here is the answer. So this is my sales, this is my cost of sales, and here is the answer equals to again gross profit minus sum update the formula over the number of cells which required to update, and the information is updated. Similarly, we are going to use the same function for the balance sheet items. So equals to balance sheet, again select any cell, enter. Now update the formula with the cell referencing. So again, we don't need to fix 01 current assets. We need to remove it, and we need to provide a cell reference. Freeze it. Don't forget to freeze it because you need to drag the function. Similarly, remove 2015 and select the cell reference. And remove 2015, provide the cell reference. Perfectly fine. So again, we need to provide total assets, so equals to sum, enter. Bracket formula equals to sum, and we have current liabilities, the total liabilities. Right? So we have calculated all the information based on our pivot table, and we have made this dynamic. Now we are going to use this calculated information inside our financial report, the third and the last part of this eBase. For that, I have used our index match function. So let me show you how I have written this function. So I want to, let me delete it and I will show you. Equals to index, right? Now I want to check information from my this number values. I want to extract numbers. I want to extract values from my this range of cells. Freeze it, comma. And how I am going to get the value? With the help of match function. I want Excel to match sales. Again, don't forget to freeze it inside my E column. Freeze it. And I want to make a exact match, comma. For the column, again match my year reference that user is going to divert, comma, database, match this columns, comma, 0 bracket close, parenthesis close. And here we get the information 44,222 for the year 2016. Let's check it. So 2016 sales is 44,222. Let's check it out for 2018. So for 2018, it's minus 162,999. Perfectly fine. The formula is working perfectly fine. So now what user need to do? User just need to select, okay, I would like to show my annual accounts or annual reports for the month of 2019. The user will select it. The information will auto update and will also compare the information with your previous year. So for the previous year, what I have done, I have written a function equals to the user selected year minus 1, enter. And with the help of same index and match function, I have connected this table with the calculated table available inside my database sheet, right? So now let's perform a task. Let's suppose inside my general, I make a change of 1000. So let's suppose 1000 is my account number. At this point of time, my current assets are 212,392. This is my current asset at this position. What I'm going to do inside my general, I am changing this 92,899. You can see 1000. This is my cash, right? And this is my debit. Right now, it's a debit account. And I'm debiting with 1000, 4 times 0, and again 4 times 0. Let's update the pivot table. So for that, Control Shift F9. Or you can go to individual pivot table, go to pivot table, analyze, and refresh. Let's check it out whether it's updating or not. So my balance sheet item, it's my current asset and it's my cash and equivalent. You can see now on 7 Jan 2015, I had cash of this amount. Now let's update the income statement. Go to pivot table, analyze, refresh, balance sheet, pivot table, analyze. You can see the amount is updated. Let's check it out whether this amount is updated in the database. Yes, this amount is updated in the database 9787608. 9767808. Sorry. And here in the balance sheet financial report, the amount is also updated. So you can now understand how the workflow is designed. The basic user interface that the user will be using is this 4 columns to record our entry. The user will enter information in this 4 column, and all the rest of the information are interconnected with the help of pivot table, right? So before moving on, if you have any question, please ask me at this point of time.
There was a comment, maybe question that from Hurram Akhtar. He was saying that do we have to refresh all tables or we can make a button for this?
You can make a button. Let me show you how you can do it. Let me show you. For that, we need to record a macro, or if you have skills on your VBA, you can make it, right? So how we can do it? For that, go to your file first, options, customize ribbon, and make sure that this developer tab is enabled, right? Now you can find this developer tab. What you need to do, click on this record macro button. This is my pivot update. The macro name is pivot underscore update. And I want to store this macro inside this workbook. Only this workbook should be working with this macro. Okay. Now what I need to do, click on table design, refresh all. For the sake of performance, go to individual pivot table, design, analyze, refresh all, right? Again, go to your developer, stop recording. The macro has been recorded. You can see pivot underscore update. Now what you need to do, you have to make a button. For example, developer insert button. From the controls, you will find insert form control button. Let's suppose this is my button and I want to link this button with my macro that I've recorded, that is pivot underscore update. Okay. Rename the button. For example, refresh data. Refresh data. Now let's suppose we go to our journal, and this time we are crediting 1 lakh, or let's suppose we are now crediting this amount, right? So let's check it out whether this is working or not. So content, refresh data. Let me save this workbook, save as, browse, macro enable workbook, save. Okay, let's record the macro again. So analyze, refresh, income statement, refresh, balance sheet, refresh, and ledger, refresh, and finally refresh all. Go to your developer tab, stop recording, save, and now let's check it out whether it's working or not. So again, I am now typing debit. We have some sort of, I'm facing some sort of macro issues in my system, but yes, you can enable and link the macro with your button with the same steps I have performed. Thank you, Karam Akhtar. Aiden, hello Sohail, have you binded your button to the recorded macro? Yes, Aiden, I've binded my button with the recorded macro. Let me show you the steps again. So let me delete this macro. Let me delete this macro. I will show the steps again. Right? Okay. So start recording of macro pivot underscore up2. Okay. And this time general ledger, pivot analyze, refresh, income statement, refresh, balance sheet, refresh. So we have updated all the pivot table, right? Developer, stop recording. Now on the content, I am designing a button, pivot up to. This is I am binding. So on the button, I am binding my macro. Okay. Renaming the button, refresh data, and save. Now, whenever a new data is implemented or incorporated inside my workbook, it will be just refresh and update it in all the reports, income statement, balance sheet, financial report by just of the click of the button. Right, guys? So here you can find it out. The data has been updated by the click of the button.
Yes.
Right? So you can record a macro, you can write your own codes. Codes are available on the internet, on the Google, you can find the codes there also. So you can record a macro for the refresh, or you can type your own code if you have VBA expertise. Then go for the typing of codes. Else you can record a very simple macro with the help of this record macro option.
Okay.
Right? So guys, this is all about how you can create your own eBase. The important thing, again, I am emphasizing again, the important thing is the workflow. How your data is going to move from one sheet to another sheet, right? And how you are going to design your information. So whenever you are designing your information, remember 3 principles. Don't get your information jumble up into one single table. Like I have this cost chart of account table, right? This chart of account table just contain all the descriptive information, nothing else. Unique descriptive information. The first key rule: split your information, split your recurring information, split your unique information. So in the charts of account, I have my unique information. In the journal, I have allowed user to use only these 4 columns to make adjustment to record their transaction, their daily transaction, right? User will only use this 4 column, and for the sake of my upcoming reports, what I have done, I have linked these tables with my chart of account. In the modern Excel, that is 2016, 2019, 365, you can use or you can take help from Power Pivot and data modeling to connect these 2 tables. Without writing the formula, you can take the help of data modeling to connect these 2 tables. And again, after connecting these 2 tables, you can generate pivot tables in the same fashion, in the same style. And you are good to go to record your accounting. You are good to go to record your financials and to generate your financial reports on just of a click of buttons.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Sohail?
Yes, sure.
Yes. Using your system, can we make three-way financial modeling statements? Actually, I see income statement, balance sheet, but I don't see cash flow statement. So
yes, we can. Yes, we can.
yes.
We can make it. But for that, I have to again design my charts of account accordingly. So all the working will be based on this charts of account. The first thing is the chart of account. How descriptive, how smartly I am handling my charts of account will depend and will analyze my upcoming reports. We can make it out with the help of this chart of account.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Well.
Any other question, guys? Related to pivot table, if you want to do any other task with the help of pivot table, the forum is open. Or any question you will like to have in the Excel, the forum is open.
Thank you. And I have other questions too,
Yeah,
Mr. Sohail.
Sure.
Okay, let me ask them. Okay. Is it possible to use in your system some Excel functions? And if it's possible, what kind of functions are better to use?
I didn't get your question. What was the first part of your question?
Okay. Is it possible to use some Excel functions? I mean, in your system, or only pivot table?
Yes, it is possible. You can use SUMIF, you can use COUNTIF, right? You can use multiple if, you can use switch. There are multiple functions available, right? But I prefer pivot table because they are so much handy. Just drag and drop the information, click on the button, and the report are updated. It's time saving, it's flexible, it's dynamic. Apart from the pivot table, you can use COUNTIF, you can use SUMIF.
Okay. Yes, right. Okay. And at the beginning of our session, people were interested in getting these materials. Will it be possible to share with them
Yes,
these
yes,
materials?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I will be sharing this file with them.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
So I think there's no question.
Right.
I would like to thank you for your wonderful session, for your informative session.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your participation. I mean, your the way of delivering speech for community. It's very appreciable. And if anybody has a question, please ask.
Guys, you can connect me on Facebook. You can connect me on YouTube. You can like my channels. You can like my pages. I'm available on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Actually, in next 2 days, I'm just going to share. I'm going to send all this information to the registered attendees. I mean, registered people. So once again, I will share all your social media accounts.
Okay, there is a question how to show this trend line, right? So guys,
Okay.
this trend line is based on spark lines. Let me delete it. First delete it and I will show you how to get these trend lines. So there are two types of charts in Microsoft Excel. One is based on this chart area and the another one is based on this spark lines. Spark lines means that you are going to create a chart inside a cell. For that, you need to answer two basic questions. Number one question is the data points. For example, in this Excel workbook, we are going to analyze 5-year data. So how many data points we have? 5 data points. The second question is where you want to create or which cell you are going to select to have this spark lines, these mini charts. So two questions and we have to answer these two questions. Now, let's go to our insert tab, spark lines, and we have line, column, and win and loss, right? So for the trend, I am using line chart. Again, there are two questions, the data points. My data points are available in my database sheet. You can find here all the 5 years data points are available. Just select it. The second question is where I want to place these spark lines. So I want to place this spark line in my E7 cell with the cells. Okay. Now just drag it down. Right. And let me fill the borders first. And now the another important thing that you should remember, whether you are using Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Outlook, anything. Remember guys, if you are using insert tab to create or use any of the object, I repeat, if you are using insert tab to create any of the object available in it, you will get 1, 2, 3, whatever the number is, you will get a special contextual tab that is linked with that object. So for example, we have used insert sparkline and we have this special contextual tab. This tab is known as contextual tab, right? And in this tab, we can find all the options related to this trend line or spark lines. So for example, if I would like to show the high point inside my trend, I have to just click on the high points. If I want to show low points, I have to just click on low points. Markers, that means the data point which is change. So I can enable it. I can also style it. For example, if I would like to show this style, I have to just click on the styles and it are updating. I can also modify my own style from the help of this marker colors. For example, I would like to show marker color with the help of this orange color. So I can just enable the data points I would like to show, the information I would like to show, and with the help of spark lines, I can modify it. So two basic question, and I have used sparklines.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Kuram, answered? Is the question answered? Yes, guys, any other question?
Um, yes. I think there's no question for now.
Thank you, Azerbaijan and Baku team for organizing this session. Hopefully
you.
to connect you in the future also.
Exactly. And by the way, if everything goes well, we are just going to hold, Azerbaijan Excel Days event in next year, which will be in both in online and offline format. And I strongly believe that you will also will have an opportunity to take part in this event. So once again, I'd like to thank you for your contribution, for your speech, for your informative session. And thank you, everybody, for attending this session. I appreciate it. So if there is no question, I think we can